Maharashtra Vidurji. First, he described in 4 to 5 verses the beauty of Prithu Maharaj, and from 21st verse onward were the instructions of Prithu Maharaj to his assembled citizens. We talked about it, what was the setup and scene. Prithu Maharaj at one point in time decided to perform another yajna. So that age, yajna was the prescribed dharma. So it was, what is that? Yuga dharma. So that was the prescribed dharma for that age. So instructions of Prithu Maharaj, they are divided into 3 sections. From verses 14 to verses 26, Prithu Maharaj is speaking and encouraging his audience or praja to practice varnashrama, act according to one's varna and ashrama. Text number 27 to text number 33, then it describes the purpose of varnashrama is to please Vishnu. And then after that, from text number 34 to 36, is how to please Vishnu. These are the 3 sets of instructions Prithu Maharaj has given. In text number, we're going to read from 28 now. Text number 27 is a very interesting purport. That's what we read yesterday and concluded with. In the purport, Prabhupada talks about chance theory. Anyone remembers what did Prabhupada say about chance theory? By chance. There is nothing called as by chance. But according to Vedic injunction, there is by chance. And what is by chance? Whenever Lord appears, He gives the chance to all the residents of this world to go back home, back to Godhead by getting attracted to the Lord. Prabhupada says that is the only chance theory in Vedic culture, where Lord Himself appears to give us the chance. Okay, interesting way. Text number 28 and 29. This is confirmed not only by the evidence of the Vedas, but also by the personal behavior of great personalities like Manu, Uttanapa, Dhruv, Priyavrat, my grandfather Anga, as well as many other great personalities and ordinary living entities, exemplified by Maharaj Prahlad and Bali, all of whom are theists, believing in the existence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who carries a club. So yesterday we were making a point, Prithu Maharaj was a unique case because his father King Vena was a hardcore atheist, like Prahlad Maharaj and Hiranyakashipu in that case. So he wanted to re-emphasize and establish the position of the Supreme Personality Godhead among his audience. So therefore he was speaking about the Varnashrama, and then he made a point, well, don't you see the differences in the society? One is born rich, one is born poor. How come people get different results? There has to be a controller. That is a Supreme Personality Godhead like this. Now, in this set of verses which we are reading, now Prithu Maharaj is saying, please understand, it's not you and I, even the great personalities like Uttanapad, like Manu, Dhruva, Priyavrat, and my grandfather Anga, all of them believed in the existence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Text number 30. Duhitradinrate mrityu Sochyan dharma vimohitan Varga swarga pavarganam Prayene katmaya hituna. Very interesting purport. Very interesting. Prabhupada mentioned, let's take a look at translation first. Although abominable persons like my father Vena, the grandson of death personified, are bewildered on the path of religion, all the great personalities like those mentioned agree that in this world the only bestower of the benedictions of dharma, artha, kama, moksha is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although my father didn't believe, but rest all the great personalities, they believe the bestower of everything good is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Prabhupada talks about a kind of a materialist. There are varieties of materialists. But there is a kind of a materialist who Prabhupada calls it humanistic materialist. Be kind, do kind, be kind to others, kind of a materialist. The humanistic, they want to care for people, but they're materialists. Materialists in the sense, they still they won't believe in God. And when I was reading this purport, the very first name that resonated with this particular thing, what Prabhupada mentioned in the purport is Devdutt Patnaik. So I was there in one forum where he was also as a speaker. I was one of the chief guests, so I couldn't get it up. I moved out, so I had to hear his presentation. I would have spoken for 40 or 45 minutes. The premise of his presentation was why every ancient civilization have some reference of God. तो मैंने कहा अच्छा अच्छी बात है हमारे लाइन पे बात कर रहे हैं. His presentation was all about scriptures. But what scriptures? He said scriptures are imaginary presentation because people need stories for getting inspiration. So stories teaches values. If you don't have stories, you will not become a human being from an animal. Without stories, we remain an animal. So these inspirational, imaginative stories are found in our culture. In our culture, in Japan, in China, he quoted some names of the books from there and all that. These are all imaginative or imaginary stories just to teach us. So all this story teaches us values and morality like that. Be good. Unless you do good to others, you really cannot be happy. At a human level, makes sense. But there is no God. This is called as humanistic materialist. This is what Prabhupada mentioned, the purport like this. So if you see in the purport, we're talking in the second paragraph, Prabhupada is raising a point. If one does not accept the authority of the Supreme Personality in matters of religion and morality, one must explain why two persons of the same moral standard achieve different results. It is generally found that even two men have the same moral standards of ethics, honesty, and morality. Their position is still not the same. Similarly, in economic development, it is seen that if two men work very hard day and night, still the results are not the same. One person may enjoy great opulence without even working, whereas another person, although working very hard, does not get two sufficient meals a day. So Prabhupada continues with like this. Yeah, so that's the point Prabhupada mentions here. For details, you can read the rest of the purport. Let's go to text number 31. So 38 talks about humanistic materialists. They care for others, but still they're materialists. While trying to care for others, they're still trying to gratify their senses. They don't believe God exists. Text number 31. Very interesting verse again. Yat pad seva viruchistapasvinam अशेष जन्मोपचितं मलं धिया सद्या शिनोति अन्वहं वेदति सति यथा पदानुगुष्टविनी सुत्रासरे. Stay the words, don't go to translation. I have a question for all of you. If somebody is trying to do service, but filled with selfish motivation, what would be your approach to him? You see him is serving, or he's doing something, but it's all pujala pratishtha, or maybe his own gain. It's all selfish. What would be your approach? How many of you will say, okay, wait, let's discuss about selflessness. And then you take to service? How many of you will do that? Teach him about serving without ulterior motivations and then encourage him to take service. How many will do that? Raise your hand. How many will say, well, unless you're pure, even if you say or not, but this is how you'll function, you probably will withdraw the service. Let's give it to somebody else because he's doing with ulterior motivations. Unless he does the right motivation, we will not. Anyone? How many of you will still continue to give him service? Let's continue. Okay, good. Okay, why would you continue to give service to him? Yes, Pardani Prabhu. We have a mic?
First of all, percentage of people who are very pure is very less. Secondly, if we want serve, how will become pure?
Yeah, that's right. And this was says on the following verses. Encourage even if motive is selfish, because by devotional service one gets pure. Of course, we have to be careful what kind of service you engage in, but we should. By the inclination to serve the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, suffering humanity can immediately cleanse the dirt which has accumulated in their minds during innumerable births, like the Ganges water, which emanates from the toes of the lotus feet of the Lord. Such a process immediately cleanses the mind, and thus spiritual or Krishna consciousness gradually increases. Beautiful purport, beautiful purport. Purport talks about, in the first part of the purport, talks about Ganges. Purport says, one can actually see that a person who takes a bath in the Ganges water daily is almost free from all kinds of diseases. And Prabhupada gives an example. A very respectable Brahmin in Calcutta never took a doctor's medicine. Even though he sometimes felt sick, he would not accept medicine from the physician, but would simply drink Ganges water. And he was always cured within a very short time. The glories of Ganges water are known to Indians and to ourselves also. The river Ganges flows by Calcutta. And then Prabhupada says, sometimes within the water there are many stools and other dirty things which are washed away from neighboring mills and factories. But still, thousands of men take bath in the Ganges water. And they are very healthy as well as spiritually inclined. This is the effect of the Ganges water. Even if there is some impurity, it does not cause any disturbance or trouble, it remains pure. Then Prabhupada says, similarly, if one takes to the service of the Lord, he is immediately cleansed of the many dirty things which have accumulated in his innumerable birth. So when it comes to service, our dharma, our foremost dharma is to engage everyone. Motives, no motives, whatever the situation, everyone should be engaged in devotional service. Because by engaging in the devotional service, rest of the Prabhupada talks about the same thing. Shipram bhavati dharmatma shashva shantim nigacchati. Person will get purified over a period of time. Text number 32. Now here Pratumaj speaks about the potency of chanting the holy names of the Lord and practicing bhakti. So now we are talking about the section is purpose of Varnashrama Dharma. After describing practice of Varnashrama Dharma, now second set of instructions is purpose of Varnashrama Dharma. What is the purpose? To please the Lord. When a devotee takes to shelter at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Prabhupada never misses a chance. You and I would have to say, would have simply said, when a devotee takes shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord, or lotus feet of Krishna, at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is completely cleansed of all misunderstanding or mental speculation, and he manifests renunciation, jnana and vairagya byproducts. This is possible only when one is strengthened by practicing bhakti yoga. Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha Janatyas Vairagyam Jnanam Chayad Ahitukam. Once having taken shelter at the root of the lotus feet of the Lord, a devotee never comes back to this material existence which is full of the threefold miseries. So Prabhupada's purport is all about the glories of the chanting as well as the glories of practicing Bhakti Yoga. Let's read the last paragraph of this purport. Somebody read the last paragraph. By practicing Bhakti Yoga.
By practicing Bhakti Yoga, one can directly perceive his advancement in spiritual life. In other practices like Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Dhyan Yoga, one may be confident about his progress. But in Bhakti Yoga, one can become directly aware of his progress in spiritual life. Just as a person who eats can understand that his hunger is satisfied. Our false appetite for enjoyment and lordship of the material world is due to prominence of passion and ignorance. By Bhakti Yoga, these two qualities are diminished and one becomes situated in the mode of goodness. Gradually, surpassing the mode of goodness, one is situated in pure goodness, which is not contaminated by the material qualities. When thus situated, a devotee no longer has any doubts. He knows that he will not come back to this material world.
Text number 33, after describing the glories of Bhakti Yoga, again a very important verse. Now Prithu Maharaj says about unity, keeping unity while trying to please and serve the Lord. Text number 33. Prithu Maharaj advised the citizens, engaging your minds, your words, your bodies, and the results of your occupational duties. And being always open minded, you should all render devotional service to the Lord. According to your abilities and the occupations in which you are situated, you should engage in service at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead with full confidence and without reservation. Then you will surely be successful in achieving the final objective in your lives. So, Prabhupada writes in the purport, please go to the purport at the end of the first paragraph. In executing the prescribed duties of life, no one is higher or lower. Varna. There are such divisions as high and lower, but since there is actually a common interest to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there are no distinctions between them. So, this is the idea of unity. And then the beautiful purport following to that. Next paragraph. Somebody can read the second paragraph, please? The question may be raised.
The question may be raised that since the Lord is supposed to be worshipped by great demigods like Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and others, how can an ordinary human being on this planet serve him? This is clearly explained by Prathu Maharaj by the use of the word yatha adhikara, according to one's ability. If one sincerely executes his occupational duty, that will be sufficient. One does not need to become like Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Indra, Lord Chaitanya, or Ramanujacharya, whose capabilities are certainly far above ours. Even a Shudra, who is the lowest stage of life according to the material qualities, can achieve the same success. Anyone can become successful in devotional service provided he displays no duplicity. It is explained here that one must be very frank and open minded. Amayana, to be situated in a lower status of life, is not a disqualification for success in devotional service. The only qualification is that whether one is a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra, he must be open, frank, and free from reservations. Then, by performing his particular occupational duty under the guidance of a proper spiritual master, he can achieve the highest success in life. As confirmed by the Lord Himself, Striyo Vaishyas Tatha Shudras Te Api Yanti Param Gatim, Bhagavad Gita 9:32. It does not matter what one is, whether a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, or a degraded woman. If one engages himself seriously in devotional service, working with body, mind, and intelligence, he is sure to be successful in going back home, back to Godhead. The Lord's lotus feet are described here as Kama Dughangari Pankajam because they have all power to fulfill the desires of everyone. A devotee is happy even in this life because although in material existence we have many needs, all his material needs are satisfied. And when he at last quits his body, he goes back home, back to Godhead without a doubt.
Without a doubt. After describing this, now 34 onwards, he'll describe what is the goal. So, first is follow Varnashrama, the purpose of Varnashrama, and now the goal of Varnashrama. Text number 34, translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is transcendental, not contaminated by this material world, but although he is concentrated spirit soul without material variety for the benefit of the conditioned soul, he nevertheless accepts different types of sacrifices performed with various material elements, rituals, and mantras offered to the devatas under different names according to the interests and purposes of the performers. So here Prathu Maharaj is talking about Karma Kanda. And Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur raises the question, Prathu Maharaj is a pure devotee of the Lord. Prathu Maharaj understands Bhakti Yoga is the best and the ultimate path. So why is Prathu Maharaj recommending Karma Kanda? He nevertheless accepts different types of sacrifice, perform various material elements, rituals, and mantras, and offer to the devatas under different names according to the interests and purposes of the performer. What is the interest of a devotee? There is only one. But now, according to the interest and the purpose of the performer. So here is talking about karma kanda. So somebody who is a pure devotee of the Lord, who understands bhakti yoga is the ultimate and the best, why is he an easiest? In fact, karma kanda is painful. So why is he recommending karma kanda? In the similar context, why does scripture speak about karma kanda then? Only speak about bhakti yoga. You got the clue now, right? So what's the idea behind it? Yes, Mother Shamalavi, a mic please. Why is Pratham Maharaj recommending karma kanda?
Everybody is at the different levels, and maybe for somebody devotion service may not seem possible, at least in this birth. So it is better that they are involved in some kind of activities which will take them to bhakti yoga, so just to facilitate them towards bhakti yoga.
Does Krishna encourages anything else except for bhakti yoga in Bhagavad Gita also?
Yes.
Where?
Bhakti yoga.
In second chapter.
Buddhi yoga is bhakti yoga.
In second chapter.
Karma
it's
yoga
about
also.
karma kanda.
But immediately he said, better than karma kanda is bhakti yoga.
That is gradual.
No, it's not gradual. He immediately said, but better than that is what I'm about to say, follow that. Where does Krishna recommends? Yeah, somebody saying
See,
online,
he
I
says
believe.
that do not disturb the people who are worshipping their own thing. He says that in
That's
one.
third chapter. There's a third chapter where Krishna says, okay, do not disturb. Let them do. Okay, fine. Somebody's trying to speak? Huh? Yes, Hare Krishna, Mother, go ahead.
Chintamani Maharaj.
Yes, Mother Chintamani.
The thing is, in the 12th chapter, when Arjuna asks whether the impersonal form or the personal
Impersonal.
form of worship is better, then the Lord, of course, says the personal form is better. But then he starts that if you can't do this, you do this. If you can't do this, you do. So actually, the personal form of bhakti yoga is the highest. So everybody can't do it. Even the Bhagavad Gita shows the yoga ladder. So it starts with karma kanda, then sakam karma yoga, nishkam karma yoga, and then jnana yoga, dhyana yoga, and bhakti yoga. So,
Thank you, Mother. So, yes, Krishna speaks about it himself in 12th chapter, verses 8 to 12. This is very important for all of us. At least, when you're taking care of others, even in your own family, relatives, and when you're preaching others. I'm just going to read the translation from 12.8 to 12.12. So, there's a refresher for you. So, 12.8 verses for Paramhamsas, sannyasis in that way. I'm not saying all sannyasis are Paramhamsas. I'm not making that distinction here. But somebody who is completely, wholeheartedly dedicated. Just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus you will live in me always without a doubt. Where even the mind is completely dedicated. Okay, what if that doesn't happen? No problem. If you cannot do that, then, my dear Arjuna 12.9, O winner of wealth, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulated principles of Bhakti Yoga. In this way, develop a desire to attain me. So, generally, when we talk about Varnashrama, in Varnashrama language, we say the previous verse was for sannyasi, this verse is for brahmachari. Now, you without deviation, then follow the regulated principles of Bhakti Yoga, which means prana, artha, dhiya, vacha. With everything you serve the Lord. Now, brahmachari, renounced order, is supposed to have given up everything. Then prana, artha, dhiya, vacha. Pran, life, artha, whatever wealth, dhiya is intelligence, vacha is words. With all of these facilities, now you try to serve the Lord. This is Bhakti Yoga. Okay. If you cannot do even this, then 12.10. If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me. This is Karma Yoga. This comes for Grahastha now. At least through your work, you try to serve me. Because by working for me, you will come to the perfect state. So don't get confused. Karma Yoga is Bhakti Yoga. But Prabhupada doesn't make distinction. But technically, there is a distinction. Therefore, there is a ladder. Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. But Prabhupada just makes Karma Yoga also Bhakti Yoga, Buddhi Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. In fact, Krishna says Buddhi Yoga and Bhakti Yoga same. But technicality there is difference. This is the difference. If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me, because by working for me, you'll come to the stage, perfect stage. What if somebody cannot do Karma Yoga? And the same thing Arjuna asked in 9th chapter, when Krishna said, Pattanam Pushpam Phalam Tvayam Yome Bhaktya Prachati. Offer me with love. Arjuna said, what if I don't have love? Love is Bhakti Yoga? Krishna says, Yat Karoshi, Yat Ashnashi, Yat Juhosi Dadasya. That is Karma Yoga. This is the same verse in 9th chapter, verse number 26 or 27. Okay, so what if you cannot do Karma Yoga? Text number 11. If, however, you are unable to work in this consciousness of me, then try to act giving up all results of your work and try to be self-situated. Now, what is the difference? Try to giving up all your results. And what is the difference of Karma Yoga? In Karma Yoga, the word yoga means in relation to the Lord. Try to give up your results means now you can do charity. You can feed the poor. You can distribute wealth. It has got nothing to do. It's humanitarian. So now if you don't identify God, if you don't want to relate with Him, at least do some charity. Be charitable. Develop detachment. What if somebody cannot even do this much? Then 12.12. If you cannot take to this practice, which means you can't cultivate detachment, then engage yourself in the cultivation of knowledge. Then at least cultivate knowledge, which means ask a question, why am I suffering? Who am I? At least do this much. And then, better than knowledge, however, is, so Krishna is concluding, better than knowledge, however, is meditation. Better than meditation is, however, renunciation of the fruits of action. For by such renunciation one can attain peace of mind. So see, even gradations are here also from Bhagavad Gita. So yes, why Prithu Maharaj is speaking about Karma Kanda? The reason is simple. The Karma Kanda is given in Shastra. Shastra is given by the Lord. If somebody follows Shastra, pleases the Lord. If somebody practices Karma Kanda, it pleases the Lord and gradually makes an advancement. That is the idea. All right? Prabhupada writes in the purport. Let's take a look at the second paragraph of this verse. We were reading from 4:21-34. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments that these Karmakanda ritualistic ceremonies, although contaminated, contain touches of devotion service, because whenever there is a performance of any yajna, Lord Vishnu is given a central position. This is very important because even a little endeavor to please Lord Vishnu is bhakti and is of great value. Which verse of Bhagavad Gita Krishna says this? Huh? Niha vikramanashvasti pratyavayo na vidyate swa alpamasya dharmasya trayate. Swa alpa. In Karma Kanda, at least obedience is there. So that's the whole idea. So it's all to be encouraged. And this way, third chapter, Krishna says, do not disturb the minds of those who are engaged in their occupation. This is the reason. At least let them follow something. Fine, those very profound purport you can read out. We'll do detail in Bhakti Vaibhav, but just high level. Text number 35. Same theme continues. The Supreme Personality of God is all pervading, but is also manifest in different types of bodies, which arise from a combination of material nature, time, desires, and occupation duties. Thus, different types of consciousness develop, just as fire, which is always basically the same, blazes in different ways according to the shape and dimension of firewood. Text number 36. The Supreme Personality regarded as a master and enjoyer the result of all sacrifices. So in other words, now he's encouraging the praja to practice bhakti yoga. He is a supreme spiritual master as well. All of you citizens on the surface of the globe who have a relationship with me and are worshipping him by dint of your occupational duties are bestowing your mercy upon me. Therefore, O my citizens, I thank you. I thank you. So now question comes. So first instruction was follow Varnashrama. Second instruction was purpose of Varnashrama is samshuddhir haritoshanam. And the third is practice bhakti yoga. Come to bhakti yoga. Now the question arises, how one will develop the desire to serve the Lord? We are in this material world because we didn't want to serve the Lord. So how can anyone, Tom, Dick and Harry walking on the street will take to bhakti yoga? How would Bhakti Yoga begin?
By the mercy of devotees.
Nectar Devotion, chapter 3, first paragraph. That was, that was the question that was asked there. How does devotional life begins? It begins by the mercy of Vaishnava. So text number 37 to 44, a very important section of this chapter as well as of this canto, by serving Vaishnava. So here, Lord Vishnu would use the word Brahmanas, not Vaishnavas. And Prabhupada clarify in the purpose, Brahmanas means the qualified Brahmanas are Vaishnava. And then Prabhupada would say, what is the difficulty with the Brahmanas in Kali Yuga? And he'll quote Vara Puran and Garuda Puran to give a evidence. By the way, how many of you are born Brahmanas? Okay. So now you'll get some evidence who are born in Brahmana family. Just I'm saying. I'm not saying it is said in the Shastra. Okay. Text number 37. The Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, the Prabhupada will use interchangeably, Brahmanas and Vaishnavas like that. The verse, how I will speak about Brahmanas. The Brahmanas and Vaishnavas are personally glorified by their characteristic power of tolerance, penance, knowledge, and education. By dint of all these spiritual assets, Vaishnavas are more powerful than royalty, which means the king. It is therefore advised that the princely order not exhibit its material prowess before these two communities and should avoid offending them. So first thing, text number 37, Krishna says, or Lord Vishnu says, Maitreya Muni is speaking, right? Prathuma is speaking, Prathuma is speaking as he wants the citizens not to commit Vaishnava aparad. Prabhupada writes in the purport, Prabhupada is speaking about Vaishnava aparad. Okay, we can read it out, it's nice. If you see in the first paragraph, in the fifth or the sixth line, while describing the system of protection for the creeper of devotional service, found it? Somebody would like to read? Yeah. Here.
While describing the system of protection for the creeper of devotional service, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has specially stressed protection from offences unto the lotus feet of Vaishnavas. Such offences are called Vaishnava Aprad. Aprad means offence. If one commits Vaishnava Aprad, all of his progress in devotional service will be checked. Even though one is very much advanced in devotional service, if he commits offences at the feet of a Vaishnava, his advancement is all spoiled. In the Shastras, it is found that a very great yogi, Durvasa Muni, committed a Vaishnava Aprad and thus for 1 full year had to travel all over the universe, even to Vaikuntha, to defend himself from the offense. At last, even when he approached the Supreme Personality of Godhead in Vaikuntha, he was refused protection. Therefore, one should be very careful about committing offenses at the feet of a Vaishnava. The most grievous type of Vaishnava Aprad is called Gurv Aprad, which refers to offenses at the lotus feet of the spiritual master. In the chanting of the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his Gurv Aprad is considered the most grievous offense. Gurur Avagna Shruti Shastra Nindanam Padma Puran. Among the 10 offenses committed against the chanting of the holy name, the first offenses are disobedience of the spiritual master and blasphemy of the Vedic literature.
The next paragraph, Prabhupada talks about who is a Vaishnava. All right, we'll go to next verse. So be careful of Vaishnava. That's a highlight of this discussion. Text number 38. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the ancient, eternal Godhead, who is foremost among all great personalities, obtained the opulence of his staunch reputation, which purifies the entire universe by worshipping the lotus feet of those Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. So how did Lord become all opulent? Because he served the Vaishnavas, therefore he became. So that's how Prathama kind of exemplifies, exhibits the importance of serving the Vaishnavas. So now we have to serve the Vaishnavas, but when you serve the Vaishnavas, aprad also going to happen, yes or no? So how do we, any thoughts, how can we take care of committing aparad? Yes, which one do I put?
By following Vaishnava etiquette.
By following Vaishnava etiquette, क्या नाम है अपना Durvasa Muni and who was the king? Amrish Maharaj had followed Vaishnava etiquette. Yes or no? Has to be both ways. There we go. There is a fault finding. Okay. What else? How can we? We have to serve the Vaishnavas. I was making a point today or yesterday, I believe. Kanishta cannot make an advancement without senior association. Kanishta cannot take senior association because of his nature. There's a do or die situation. You know. So okay, what can we do to avoid Vaishnava Prad? And it sometimes becomes inevitable while staying in a community of Vaishnavas. Knowingly, unknowingly it happens. What else can we do? So, valid point, follow Vaishnava. Stick to it, at least we'll minimize, which is true. What else? 100% तो नहीं होगा, but at least minimize कर देंगे तो Vaishnava etiquette.
We should serve the Vaishnavas, consciously take efforts to minimize consciously take efforts to follow the Vaishnava etiquettes, and at last, prayer in the heart to.
Okay, very nice. Prayer in the heart, prayer in the heart. So yesterday I was hearing to our Vrindavan Prabhu speaking about Guru Maharaj. He was making a point. He started his offering with, there was a devotee who was known to Chapati congregation and Pune congregation also. So I was thinking, who was this advanced devotee known to all Chapati and Pune congregation? And then he said, he was known because he was a fault finder. So everyone knew him. In Chapati and Pune, everyone knew him. And everyone wanted to keep a distance from him. He said, so once we went to Guru Maharaj, he said, Maharaj, everyone was complaining, this fellow, you put him anywhere and everywhere, he finds fault. What do we do with him, Maharaj? So Maharaj said, well, something has to be done, because if you don't show compassion, where would he go? We have to have patience, we have to give time. So then the council asked, Maharaj, so you only say, what service should we give him? So then Vrindavan Prabhu said, this is around 95, 96. So they were that time compiling this Vaishnava etiquette and Grahastha manual. So Maharaj said, he has a fault-finding nature, give him proofreading seva. Let him engage that propensity there. Okay. So I would call it as a strategic move. So at times we have to be strategic. We have to be strategic. You call it diplomatic or strategic or whatnot, to see how do we manage that particular individual's nature, which will take time to get evolved. And it doesn't make sense to shut him down. You cannot shut him down, but you cannot allow him to function. Both is very dangerous. Dangerous for him, dangerous to others. So what we have to do, we have to somewhere here and there allow him to engage his nature, which turns into devotional service, like proofreading. Okay? Text number 30, we were reading about it. So Lord became so opulent by worshipping the lotus feet of the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. Like this. Alright. Text number 39. The Supreme Personality Godhead, who is everlastingly independent and who exists in everyone's heart, is very pleased with those who follow in his footsteps and engage without reservation in the service of the descendants of Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. For he is always dear to Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, and they are always very dear to him. Purpose writes in the purport first line, it is said that the Lord is most pleased when he sees one engaged in the service of his devotee. He does not need any service from anyone because he is complete. But it is in our own interest to offer all kinds of service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. These services can be offered to the Supreme Person not directly but through the service of the Brahmanas and Vaishnava. Chadiya Vaishnava Seva Nistara Paichakeva. That's our main subject theme of Chaitanya Charitamrita, text number 40. But this is all about, serve the Vaishnavas, so you get the blessings and you practice Bhakti Yoga. By regular service to the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, one can clear the dirt from his heart and thus enjoy supreme peace and liberation from material attachment and be satisfied. In this world, there is no fruitive activity superior to serving the Brahmana class. For this can bring pleasure to the Devtas, for whom the many sacrifices are recommended. So serve the Vaishnavas, all your desires would be fulfilled. But the problem is, what is the difficulty? Very interesting purport. Caution to those who are born as Brahmanas. Purport. So if you see, after that verse, Tandera Charanasevi, if you go a few lines below, then you'll see that the spiritual master is the best Brahmana. Got it? Somebody would like to read from the audience? Is the mic? Yeah, Pashupu, go ahead. The spiritual master is the best Brahmana.
The spiritual master is the best Brahmana. At present, in the age of Kali, it is very difficult to render service to Brahman Kul or the Brahmana
All
class.
right. A question comes up, Prabhuji, Brahman, are you sure? Are we really confident of their caliber, character, things like that? So and that's the difficulty Prabhupada is addressing. And then Prabhupada says, what's the difficulty? Please go ahead.
The
Because this set
difficult
of verses have been exemplifying serving Brahmanas. And it's not Lord has spoken Vaishnava, he has used Brahmana. Prabhupada saying Brahmana means Vaishnava. So question comes, अरे ब्राह्मण कहा गया but कैसे कर सकते हैं ब्राह्मण? Some seems to be corrupt. Prabhupada says now.
The difficulty, according to the Vara Puran, is that demons taking advantage of Kali Yuga have taken birth in Brahman families. Rakshasa Kalim Astriya Jayante Brahma Yonishu. Vara Puran. In other words, in this age, there are many so-called caste Brahmanas and caste Goswamis who, taking advantage of the Shastra and of the innocence of people in general, claim to be Brahmanas and Vaishnavas by hereditary right. One will not derive any benefit by rendering service to such false Brahman kulas. One must therefore take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master and his associates and should also render service to them, for such activity will greatly help the neophyte in attaining full satisfaction.
Hare Krishna. So the same thing was mentioned by Prabhupada in the first canto in the contest of Shringi when he had cursed Parishit Maharaj. And then Prabhupada said, because of the curse of Shringi, the whole Brahmana class got destroyed. As a result of it, in Kali Yuga, the demons have appeared in Brahman. So don't take it as a blanket statement, which means all Brahmana kulas are demons. It means some of them have appeared, and because of which, even if you have, we say one bad apple destroys all, is something like that. One bad example destroys the whole kula. That's the whole idea here. Okay, text number 41. The Brahmanas should not take this to heart, not feel offended. Huh? If you're getting offended, you're too much in bodily consciousness. Text number 41. Although the Supreme Personality regarded Ananta eats through the fire sacrifices offered in the names of the different devtas, he does not take as much pleasure in eating through fire as it does in accepting offering through the mouths of the learned sages and devotees, for then he does not leave the association of devotees. Naham tishtami vaikunte yoginam hridayeshu va tatra tishtami narada yatra gayanti madbhakta. I am not found in Vaikuntha or in the heart of a yogi. I am found wherever my devotees are singing my glories. Text number 42. So why are Brahmanas are so dear, the Vaishnavas are so dear to the Lord? 42, Krishna Prathumar gives the reason. Brahminical culture, Brahmana's transcendental position is eternally maintained because the injunctions of the Vedas are accepted with faith, which means they follow the Vedic injunction very strictly. They are austere, full sense and mind control, and meditation. In this way, the real goal of life is illuminated, just as one's face is fully reflected in a clear mirror. So, yeah. Text number 43 and 44, again concluding about Brahmanas. O respectable personalities present here, I beg the blessings of all of you that I may perpetually carry on my crown the dust of the lotus feet of such Brahmanas and Vaishnavas until the end of my life. He who can carry such dust on his head is very soon relieved of all the reactions which arise from sinful life. Eventually, he develops all good and desirable qualities. So easiest means of getting purified of sinful reactions also by serving Vaishnavas. Text number 44. What is the wealth of Brahmanas? Gunayanam Shiladhanam Kritjnanam.
Gunayanam Shiladhanam Kritjnanam.
My mistake. Gunayanam Shiladhanam Kritjnam.
Gunayanam Shiladhanam Kritjnam.
Vruddhashrayam samvranate anusampadaha.
Vruddhashrayam samvranate anusampadaha.
Prasidata brahmakulam gavam cha janadana sanucharascha mayam. So second line, Vruddha Ashrayam Samavarnate Anusampada. So what is the wealth of the Brahmanas? Remember yesterday we were talking about the 7 qualities of the speech, charu, chitra, padam, like that. So these are the qualities of the wealth of brahmanas. Whoever acquires the brahminical qualifications, whose only wealth, first, good behavior. Second, who is kritagnyam, grateful. Shiladhanam, which means good behavior. Kritagnyam, grateful. Third, Vrad Ashrayam, who takes shelter of the experienced persons, get all the opulence of the world. I therefore wish that the Supreme Personality of God and His associates be pleased with the Brahmana class, with the cows, and with me. So 3 qualities: Shiladhanam, Kritagnyam, Vrad Ashrayam, अच्छा व्यवहार, कृतज्ञता का भाव, and वरिष्ठों के संरक्षण में कार्य करना. These are wealth of Brahmana. This is how they, which means they do not function independently, they always function under counsel of Guru Sadhu Shastra. Every action, every word they speak is inspired by Vedic wisdom. Every action they take is under the guidance. Text number 45. So now 45 to 52 is the concluding section. Prithu Maharaj have concluded speaking. Now among the assembled sages and Praja, some sages will speak and some representative of Praja will also speak, just to express their gratitude for the speech of Prithu Maharaj. Maitravacha iti bruvanam narpatim Pitradeva Dujataya Tuštuvur Hashtamanasaha Sadhu Vadena Sadavaha. The great sage Maitreya said, after hearing King Prithu speak so nicely, all the Devtas, Janis and the Pitralok, the Brahmanas and saintly persons present at the meeting, congratulated him by expressing their goodwill. Purport. Please read out purport, somebody.
When a person speaks very nicely at a meeting, when a person speaks very nicely at a meeting, he is congratulated by the audience, who express their goodwill with the word sadhu.
Sadhu. So, अगर आप नहीं familiar थे तभी हो जाना. अभी आप हरि बोल बोलते थे, पर कोई अच्छा व्यवहार दिखाता है तो जनरली हमारा लिंगो, वैष्णव लिंगो is sadhu. That is our lingo, okay?
This is called sadhu bad. All the saintly persons, pitas, denizens of Pitralok, and demigods who were present at the meeting and heard Prithu Maharaj express their goodwill with the words sadhu.
Which means approval, and great words, sadhu like that. Hari bol is confusing at times. वो समझ नहीं आता अप्रूवल है या रिजेक्शन है, क्योंकि हर चीज़ में हरी बोल कर देते हैं. तो चेंज टू साधु फॉर अप्रूवल. All right. Text number 46. They all declared, all the assembled sages, that the Vedic conclusion that one can conquer the heavenly planets by the action of a putra or son was fulfilled for the most sinful Vena, who had been killed by the curse of the Brahmanas, was now delivered from the darkest region of hellish life by his son, Maharaj Prithu. They all glorifying Prithu Maharaj, that because of you, your father Vena has been delivered. For text number 47. And they remind or they speak about the example of Prahlad Maharaj and Hiranyakashipu, text number 47. Similarly, Hiranyakashipu, who by dint of his sinful activities always defied the supremacy of Supreme Personality Godhead, entered into the darkest region of hellish life, but by the grace of his great son, Prahlad, he was delivered and went back home, back to Godhead. 48. All the saintly Brahmanas thus addressed Prithu Maharaj, O best of warriors, O father of this globe, may you be blessed with a long life. For you have great devotion to the infallible Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the master of all the universe. Who can give blessings to whom? Who can give blessings to whom? So here Brahmanas are giving blessings to Kshatriya. Not the Praja. Praja can also pray. They would say, we pray for your long life. I don't think so Praja would say, we bless you with long life. I don't think so that would happen. I believe so like that. Okay? So here the sages speaking, as they say, we bless you with a long life. Text number 49. The audience continued, Dear King Prithu, your reputation is purest of all, for you are preaching the glories of the most glorified of all, the Lord of the Brahmanas. Since due to our great fortune, we have you as our master. We think that we are living directly under the agency of the Lord. because he being a pure devotee, he is acting as a transparent medium. Text number 50. But dear Lord, it is our occupational duty to rule over your citizens. That is not a very wonderful task for a personality like you who are so affectionate, seeing to the interests of the citizens, because you're full of mercy. That is the greatness of your character. The point is, sometimes you have to, punish also, take strong action. So a compassionate person like you, it will be very difficult for him to do an administration. Text number 51. The citizens, now the Praja replies. So how did Praja replies? Today you have opened our eyes, Om Ajnanati Mirandasya, and revealed how to cross to the other side of the ocean of darkness. By our past deeds and by the arrangement of superior authority, we are entangled in a network of fruitive activities and have lost sight of the destination of life. Thus, we have been wandering within the universe. Now, Brahmanas would not speak like this, but Praja would speak because Praja is subordinate. So, even if, for a matter of fact, Praja was very well educated, they had done Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav and whatnot, they very well was, still they would have said the same thing. Today you have opened etiquette. The balance have to be maintained. You cannot say, ठीक है सुना था, पिछली क्लास में भी बोला था, ये repeat है. It doesn't happen like this. Text number 52. Dear Lord, you are situated in your pure existential position of goodness. Therefore, you are the perfect representative of the Lord. You are glorified by your own prowess, and thus you are maintaining the entire world by introducing Brahminical culture and protecting everyone in your line of duty as Kshatriya. And this concludes the particular chapter. I want to really go to chapter 21 because I want to discuss our back to Godhead topic. Chapter number 20, so the first 16 verses. Now what happens now? Lord had promised Prithu Maharaj, soon you will have darshan of 4 Kumaras. So here there's a huge assembly, yajna is about to happen or happening, whatnot. Prithu Maharaj gave a speech and the Brahmanas responded back. Now the representative of the Praja spoke. Before the next action took place, 4 Kumaras descended from the heaven and they entered the assembly. Now, so far, by all means, Prithu Maharaj was the greatest in the whole assembly. Brahmanas were there, but Prithu Maharaj was Prithu Maharaj. Brahmanas had not met Vishnu, Prithu Maharaj had met. So there was. So now we saw how Brahmanas dealt with Prithu Maharaj, how Praja dealt with Prithu Maharaj. Now we're going to see how Prithu Maharaj, who is in a subordinate position, how would he deal with 4 Kumaras? Now, Prithu Maharaj is somebody we read in the chapter. He did not become proud because of the grand reception. Everyone is glorifying you. You're the topmost. You're on the top pedestal, speaking and whatnot. Now, seniors come. So, how do you respond? How do you react? That's the question. So, let me ask a question. If we meet a senior, what are the 1, 2, 3 things that you can say to a senior? Hare Krishna, which is valid statement, Hare Krishna. So that is one statement. What could be the next 2 statements can you say?
We are very grateful to see you there.
Okay, that is nice. What else?
Give you blessing.
मतलब वो तो बहुत ठीक है, वो तो वो हो गया बिल्कुल एकदम से once in a blue moon you meet with somebody, let's say महाराज इनके संग मिलने की बहुत ही कम मौका मिलता है, then you may say like that, which is valid. Let's say somebody who you still meet regularly within your community. Our community में तो कुछ seniors होते हैं ना, so this is all valid. What else? Or maybe let me say what not to say. Let me say. What not to say is how are you? Now there is nothing wrong, but this is a very westernized idea because in Western idea everyone is equal. 5 साल का बच्चा भी बाप के बराबर होता है, तो बाप मत बोलो, नाम बोलो. Yes, you might have seen in America. So that ideology destroys this etiquette. You asking how are you is not insulting, nothing, but it's not a proper etiquette. What is junior supposed to ask senior, how are you? Imagine Vyasdev, Narad Muni came to meet Vyasdev. And Vyasdev would ask Narad Muni, how are you? Narad Muni bolte hai, pavde. You are asking me, how are you? I have come to ask you, how are you? You are depressed, not me. you know, that's the point. So we have to be careful. Again, I'm saying it's nothing wrong. If you say, how are you, it could be just, you have a deep relationship. You say, that's totally fine. But I'm just saying this is not general etiquette. We are exchanging situations there, okay? Text number 1, Maitrevacha. The great sage Maitreya said, while the citizens were thus praying to the most powerful king Prathu, the four Kumaras descended. Text number 2. Seeing the glowing effulgence of the four Kumaras, the masters of all honesty power, the king and associates could recognize them as they descended from the sky. Text number 3. How did Prathu Maharaj reacted to see Prathu's four Kumaras? Now, this is a very special occasion because it's not the four Kumaras who come regularly. And what you see here would often happen with us also, become very eager. So Prathu Maharaj becomes extremely eager to receive four Kumaras. Text number 3. Seeing the four Kumaras, Prathu Maharaj was greatly anxious to receive them. Therefore, the king with all his officers very hastily got up, as anxiously as a conditioned soul whose senses are immediately attracted by the modes of material nature. Prabhupada writes a beautiful purport. Last few lines. Why did Prathu Maharaj become so excited to see four Kumaras? Prabhupada says, it is said, birds of a feather flock together. In this world, everyone is attracted by a person of the same category. For example, when those days when we used to watch cricket match, Bollywood movies and whatnot, and suddenly you see a Bollywood star or cricket star in front of you, natural attraction will happen. I believe I've shared this example long ago when I've gone along with my family to Jaipur. We were in that killa, जो पहाड़ी के ऊपर आता है, and it's a family trip. I was in 8th or 9th standard, and suddenly Akshay Kumar came. So what happened? Our exit was stopped. They said nobody can go, nobody can come out because there's a shooting going on and they've blocked the road for security reasons. So you all have to stay. So we said, okay, we wait there. And then we got the message that Akshay Kumar is coming. And I saw, Akshay Kumar came from here, and we just standing a little distance. Akshay Kumar came from here. There was a lady standing here with a daughter, with a child, I don't know, daughter or son. I categorically remember Akshay Kumar came here. She got pulled towards him like a iron filing to a magnet. वो ऐसे भागी उसके तरफ, अक्षय कुमार डर गया. See, point is, people may love you, but if you don't know them, you'll be frightened. No? Suddenly somebody, and he had 2-3 security guard or whatever people, and when she rushed to him, so that she doesn't hug him or whatnot, he kind of pushed. And that lady collapsed on the ground with the child rolling down. I remember watching it. Akshay Kumar didn't do anything. He just walked away. He didn't. And probably for them it is a common thing. People become crazy like this. So I'm just saying, I'm just reminded of that. So wherever you're, now point is, now if imagine, for example, I was going to Delhi or somewhere. So just ahead of me, Dimple Kapadia was sitting. So I was sitting and chanting. She was the last person to enter. She came and she stood. She was putting her bag. मैंने देखा. मैंने कहा यार शक्ल तो जानी पहचानी लग रही है. And she has a small height, maybe 5'5". She's not much tall like this. मैं कहा ये तो डिम्पल कपाड़िया है. So I was going through the thought. मैं कहा यार होगी तो हमें क्या करना है? What's the big deal? I was going through the thought like this, but I could see the enthu of others around. Imagine if this is 10-15 years ago. Immediately कोई ना कोई डायरी पेपर निकल जाता, मैडम एक autograph, So the idea that Prabhupada is saying here, the birds of a same feather, flock together. So we can see which bird are we, which feathers are we having with our attraction. In this world, everyone is attracted by a person of the same category. A drunkard is attracted to persons who are also drunkards. Similarly, a saintly person is attracted by other saintly persons. Prathu Maharaj was in the topmost position of spiritual advancement, and as such he was attracted by the Kumaras who are of the same category. Beautiful aspect, beautiful point Prabhupada mentions here. It is said, therefore, that a man is known by his company. Text number 4. When the great sages accepted their reception, according to the instruction Shastra, finally took their seats offered by the king, influenced by the glory of the sages, immediately bowed down, thus he worshipped the four Kumaras. Text number 5. After this, the king took the water which had washed the lotus feet of the Kumaras, sprinkled it over his hair. By such respectful actions, the king, as an exemplary personality, showed how to receive a spiritually advanced personality. So Prabhupada mentioned the beautiful point in the 5th purport. Prathu Maharaj is put to test immediately. Prithu Maharaj just some time ago taught his praja how to serve Vaishnavas. And now he's put to test immediately just after his lecture ended. Not that next day, so कुछ लोग भूल गए होंगे, कुछ लोगों ने सुना नहीं होगा. His speech ended. Brahmana said 2 words, Praja said 2 words, 4 Kumaras came, his knowledge, whatever he spoke, put to test. And that's what Prabhupada writes in the purport. So Prithu Maharaj showed by his exemplary behavior, he just didn't spoke, he followed. That's the point. Text number 6. The 4 great sages were elder to Lord Shiva, and when they were seated on the golden throne, they appeared just like a fire blazing on an altar. Maharaj Prithu, out of his great gentleness and respect for them, began to speak with great restraint as follows. Any thoughts? Maybe we'll pause with this. We can have a little discussion on this. मैं हरी फरी में भागे जा रहा हूँ. बाकी कल देखते हैं. जितना होगा देखेंगे. Yeah. What is the meaning of great restraint? Let's read the purport. Anyone like to read the purport? Where's the mic? Purport, text number 6.
The Kumaras are described herein as the elder brothers of Lord Shiva. When the Kumaras were born out of the body of Lord Brahma, they were requested to get married and increase the population. In the beginning of the creation, there was a great need of population. Therefore, Lord Brahma was creating one son after another and ordering them to increase. However, when the Kumaras were requested to do so, they declined. They wanted to remain brahmachari throughout life and be engaged fully in the devotional service of the Lord.
Alright, so Prabhupada is talking about the life of 4 Kumaras and how Rudra was born and all that. So, any thoughts about it? Maharaj Prithu, out of his great gentleness and respect for them, began to speak with great restraint as follows. What is the meaning of great restraint while dealing with seniors? And the more senior, got to be very careful. So, what side of great restraint? Yes? How with great restraint respect is shown?
To be in awe and reverence.
Okay, to in awe and reverence. What else?
So that you don't utter something which is should not be.
Should not be spoken, displease. What else?
Not wasting their time.
Not wasting their time. How are you, Gurudev? All fine and well? I was chastised from His Honour Chandramali Maharaj. When you're young, you make all kind of mistakes. I didn't know all this thing. I didn't read Bhagavatam that time. So I would have been careful. So our idea is to become casual. And it's okay, we've come from that, because this is what we call as building relationship. So I was at Chicago temple, in the ashram. So Maharaj called me, I was not even initiated. Mike, can you help me with cleaning my room and all that? So I started to clean. So I had heard in one class by Romapad Maharaj, his own is Romapad Maharaj, whenever you meet a great personality, ask a question. So then you build relationship. But I forgot the second part. Ask a meaningful question. I started to ask some random question. With a lot of tolerance, he answered. Then I said, Maharaj, have you eaten your lunch? He answered. Maharaj, what are you doing tomorrow? He answered. Maharaj, what is your schedule for next 1 week? He lost. He said, you want to know everything, yaar? Why don't you focus on the service that I've given you and stop asking questions? Then it clicked me. Yes, ask questions, but not so many. So the idea of great restraint is have a meaningful conversation. Speak if you have something. For example, let's have a Guru Maharaj. This is in Columbus only. So our 2 devotees, I was driving and we had 2 seniors and we were driving to Maharaj to New Vrindavan. So all were very excited. I'm a young devotee at that time, young boy. And these are 2 temple leaders and they were very excited. And they both were, when we were going to airport with Sima, all through they were discussing, Maharaj se hum ye puchenge, Maharaj se hum wo puchenge, ye karenge, wo baat karenge. Maharaj came, said, Hare Krishna. He said, no word. Pin drop silence. He's sitting in front, driving. And dono piche, I can see from the mirror. Dono piche lage pade, kuch. I icebreaker call karega. We'll have the courage to do icebreaker. Literally, 3/4 of our journey went. Whole of Ohio is crossed. So I believe to go to West Virginia from Ohio, Ohio is crossed. I believe we entered West Virginia. We went to West Virginia, and it's just 40 minutes or 45 minutes would be remaining to the trip. It's a 3 hour on an average trip. And can you imagine how much they would have churned? Arey Maharaj kuch bol nahi raha hai, chup chap. He put his hand in beat bag, he's chanting, not even a single word. And they both are like, kya kare, kya kare? Finally, one of them said, hell with everything. If you don't speak, so then he suddenly said, Maharaj, can I ask a question? You know, I was trying to hold my laughter. मैंने कहा गया ये. It's very grave, huh? It's very grave. I mean, he's still relaxed in America, unlike in India. Maharaj said, yes, if it is a matter of life and death. I remember that devotee, you know. Maharaj was sitting in front of him. So he was by the edge of the seat. And literally next to his ear, Maharaj, can I ask you a question? When Maharaj said life and death, na, he collapsed like this. Bola ho gaya. And another 40 minutes or 10 minutes before the journey, Maharaj said, yes, you both have not spoken anything. You want to talk anything? And then they just gave some report of the temple community like that. So this great restraint is a very important word, very important word. You know, we should not. I remember so many mistakes. I've done it that way. You know, so we should not waste time. We should be careful. So when it comes to your conversation, have with your peers. Therefore, peer association is needed. Have your conversation, casual conversation, whatnot. But be careful. And even if you get chastised, laugh at it and enjoy it. Don't take it so seriously. Oh, why did I get chastised? Don't make it an ego issue, then you're only going to get troubled. But the point is, if you cross a line, somewhere we'll be put to task. So that's the idea. Began to speak with great restraint, which means careful what to speak, what not to speak, how much to speak, etc. You know, it's not that the class have ended. On the name of question, you start another class. You know, it goes on and goes on and goes on. So again, among your peers, you can, when we're talking to seniors, be careful of their time. And you don't have to repeat, even if you're asking question, you don't have to repeat your question. No, let me tell you the question, what I meant. No, what do you mean? He has not understood or what? Your point is ask a question. If he has not understood, he'll ask you, what do you mean? And to your question, to give a purport to your question, this is not the right behavior like that. So that's the idea. Begin to speak with great restraint as follows. What he spoke, we'll see that tomorrow because it's already 9 o'clock. I'll pause here. Jidru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any questions, any comments from anyone? Yeah. Mic, please. No, mic. Online devotees are there.
Here repeatedly it's being mentioned that serve Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. So we see Vaishnavas and as Brahmanas only.
Yeah.
And we prefer serving them.
Yeah, so that's the idea. So the advanced Brahmanas are Vaishnavas. That's how Prabhupada will put how that's how Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur. So beyond the modes of material nature, that's the platform of Brahmana. And that is what a Vaishnava is. So advanced Brahmanas are Vaishnavas. So serving Vaishnavas is everything taken care.
तो जैसे यहाँ पर बार-बार मतलब ब्राह्मणास को भी सर्व करने की बात कर रही है. So my question
is... Oh yeah,
is...
that's the reason because the time and situation when it was spoken, it was Brahmanas like that. And therefore we talked about the difficulty with the Brahmana in Kali Yuga. So therefore the difference between Brahmana and Vaishnava is made for that reason. But that time there was no difference in that. All Brahmanas were pure. This is Apratuma Satya Yuga, beginning of the creation, this is going on. So like that. Behind?
Prabhuji, in the previous chapter, we were talking about occupational duties and putting so much stress on fulfilling our occupational duties. You know, the previous chapter.
No, previous chapter, the very first set of instruction, follow Varnashram.
Follow Varnashram and occupational duties. So here we see this, and you also showed us, the Bhagavad Gita verses showing the ladder. I was reminded of the conversation between Ramananda Rai and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So यहाँ पर हम देखते हैं कि the first thing that when Ramananda Rai asks questions, the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asks question, Ramananda Rai says, continue occupation duty. But then he says this is a bahya. Up till the point pure devotional service comes that it is, he keeps on
Hearing.
saying,
The very first
yeah.
thing he said, hearing. He said, now you're starting. Yes. Yeah,
Yes.
bhakti.
So then here, meaning the gist of the question is that, here Mahaprabhu is saying this is bhaya, whereas here we see so much importance put on occupational
The
duties. How do we
difference
reconcile?
is in the audience. It's a private conversation between Ramanand Rai and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Both are religious. One is the Supreme Personality Godhead, and second is literally incarnation of bhakti. It's a private conversation. Here you're publicly speaking where everyone will not be able to take to bhakti. So you have to see the context of the conversation. So here Prathumaj is speaking to everyone, and we saw that in the yesterday, Prabhupada says in a meeting, there are some people who will be envious also. If not you, envious of the Supreme Personality Godhead. The question, the duty of a king is to still engage everyone. So therefore he's emphasizing, at the least you follow Varnashrama. So there is a gradual development. In case of Ramananda and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked, he had a foundational course was about bhakti. What is the highest thing? Not bhakti. What is the highest thing? And therefore, if you say the highest thing, Prathumaj is not speaking the highest thing. Prathumaj is talking about engaging everyone so that they move towards the highest thing. But if the question is asked, what is the highest thing, then why would you settle on the lowest thing?
So then for us, how do we reconcile and take back a message?
Here in terms of Prathumaj's instructions, I would say it's not, therefore I didn't make much points about the practical application here. Here is Prathumaj is teaching all follow Varnashrama and is talking about what is the purpose of Varnashrama, please the Lord, that's the goal of Varnashrama. Eventually concludes, take to bhakti. Do the practice of bhakti yoga, that is the best, because with this, definitely Lord would be pleased.
Okay, got it.
So that's a conclusion, that's a take-home message if we want to reconcile with that. So that was the verses from 34 to 36, where he was focusing from Karma Kanda to Bhakti Yoga.
Got it. Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay? Yes, Madashwini and then Kaushal Prabhu. Anything online? Question hai? Okay. Yeah, please go ahead, Madashwini.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, so basically does it mean that people who are in Grahastha ashram, they are basically doing karma yoga and not bhakti yoga, is it?
Actually, again, what is Karma Yoga? There is Sakam Karma Yoga, there is Nishkam Karma Yoga. When you talk about the word yoga is always in connection to the Lord. And I made a point last week also, not last week or somewhere else. Bhakti is not about perfection, bhakti is about connection. If through yoga you are able to have connection, it doesn't matter it is karma, jnana, ashtanga, bhakti. Because it's about connection with the Lord. Now in the current situation, if it is karma yoga, so be it. But in karma yoga also there is a bhakti element because you have taken shelter of Guru. You are following the same practice that even those who have renounced, they are practicing. Only difference could be in prana, artha, dhiya, vacha, somewhere here and there. But the basic elements of Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Pada, Sevanam is been practiced even by Grahastha, even by Brahmachari. So those, let's say, who identify with ISKCON, those who are following teachers of Srila Prabhupada, they are practicing Bhakti Yoga. But if you go with the exact technical definition, there is some aspect of Karma Yoga. Frankly speaking, even Brahmacharis that way are doing Karma Yoga. Even Brahmacharis are doing Karma Yoga. Why? What is Karma Yoga? You go and do your duty and dedicate the result for the pleasure of Guru and Gauranga. So Brahmachari goes, does book distribution. He doesn't keep result with him. He gives it to Guru and Gauranga. That is Karma Yoga. That is also Bhakti Yoga. You're chanting the holy names of the Lord, that is Bhakti Yoga. You're serving the deity, that is Bhakti Yoga. So somewhere we are doing both. So it's not a difference like that way. Okay? Yes, Kaushal Prabhu.
Prabhuji, I had this question in this previous chapter, verse 34. Prabhupada quoted Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and said that, this karma kand also should be encouraged. And because somewhere or the other, whenever there is a yajna, there is a,
Vishnu
Vishnu
is
is
central.
central. And so I was just wondering that this is for specifically for non-devotees, right? That this should be encouraged. And is it also for devotees that only for non-devotees is what was meant, right?
Yeah, point is those who cannot take to the higher stage, at least let them do the lower stage. Why? Because it is still part of the Vedic education, Vedic culture. Vedic education culture is given by the Lord. So if you are abiding by any aspect of Vedas, you're following, you're showing obedience to the Lord. Indirectly it becomes bhakti. Maybe not direct. Indirectly it's a bhakti because you're still showing obedience. Na?
Correct.
Therefore it's good. And that's the same point Krishna says in 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita. We said, do not disturb the minds of people. Text number 3, third chapter, verse number 26. Na buddhi vedam janayad ajnanam karma sangina joshas sarva karmani vidvan yukta samacharam. So as not to disturb the minds of ignorant men attached to the fruitive results of prescribed duties. Karma kanda. A learned person should not induce them to stop work. Rather, by working in the spirit of devotion, he should engage them in all sorts of activities for the greater development of Krishna consciousness. So those who engage in karmakanda, do not stop them. Encourage them. Encourage them to at least use something in the service of the Lord. And gradually they will make advancements. Okay? So here's an online question. Those of you are getting late, you are more than welcome to leave. Hare Krishna, very wonderful. Okay. If gurus are not giving association as much as we desire, does it mean that gurus are ensuring that we don't commit Vaishnava aparadh? If gurus is not giving us association as much as we desire, so not giving association as much desire, so association of guru is largely from Vani. And to that there is no restriction. We can have as much as association we want. When it comes to personal association, there is. Oh, okay. I hope I'm audible now. So, what I was saying? Yeah, is it audible now? Low audio. Yeah, it's audible. What I was saying. So, when it comes to Guru's association, it is available 24/7 and unlimited amount through Guru Vani. When it comes to personal association, everyone may not get that opportunity because at a human level there are limitations like that. Does it mean that our gurus are ensuring that we do not commit Vaishnava Prad? That I don't know. That depends on if in case somebody is serving with the guru and then guru is not giving him that attention or things, is very subjective. I don't know about it. But guru's association is available. Hare Krishna. I hope that answers. Yes, Kashyap. Yeah.
Just a follow-up question from my previous question, that if there are certain very neophytes who are joining the movement and they are following all kinds of vratas, and they are confused, we should do Ekadashi or this or that vrata or Tuesday vrata. So should we encourage them, or should we say that you stop and you just follow Ekadashi or something like that?
See, nobody is asking you to encourage. What we are asking is to do not discourage them. There's a huge difference between encourage and discourage. Do not stop them with what they're doing. At least some vrata, at least they're doing something. So nobody is saying now you go and encourage them in doing Navratri Vrat. That's not the idea. So they're doing something okay. Now somebody comes to you asking for guidance. Prabhu, what should we do? Then you can tell the truth. I mean, they ask for guidance. Point is, we going out of our way, disturbing the faith of others, that is, do not do that. But somebody comes to your guidance, then you tell the truth. And then it's up to them. Yatha ichesi tata guru. Then be detached. Yatha ichesi tata guru. आप जैसे करेंगे, I'm totally fine, because you can do whatever your capacity. Don't become attached to what you say. It has to be that way. Be detached. So please do it at your level. It's totally fine. That's okay. All right. Thank you all for joining me. Jai Guru Shila Prabhupada ki jai.